In the short time that they've been around, Haute42 has already released a spectrum of excellent controllers to cover a wide range of preferences. And just when we thought they couldn't possibly come up with something we haven't seen yet, the brand new U16 arrives. I haven't asked Haute42 what the U in this series stands for, but it might stand for Ultimate, because this model has handpicked a few features that we've grown to love about their other controllers and mixed it all in a pot with an additional surprise, and I'm quite sure this is a world first for this particular feature. So let's take a closer look at what the U16 brings to the table. Hello friends, before we talk about the key features of the U16, I just want to thank Haute42 for sending this out to me early. They didn't give me any instructions, so all opinions are my own, and to my knowledge this review sample is the same if not very close to the retail unit. If there are any differences, I will add a note in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. So what are these handpicked features that I mentioned earlier? Well, for starters, there are the button rims from the R series. These are the glossy opaque ones from the R16 Black Edition, so the LEDs don't shine through the rims. Instead, they're focused and directed around the button cap. The caps are also from the R series. They have a 20mm diameter with the smooth matted top and glossy sides. The jump button is 25mm. In terms of the spacing for the direction and action buttons, they're identical to the M16 Plus. I don't have the T16, but I believe the spacing on that is very close to the M Plus. And finally, the spacing is wider compared to the R series. For my OCD bros, because it's using an M Plus button layout, the jump button is off center. The screen sits outside of the button cluster and the turbo button is in an odd spot. I prefer it to be out of the way over here or sitting next to the function row, but it is in line with the top screws and other function buttons. It has one USB-C socket in the center and the EXT port is to the left of it here. So already we can see they've borrowed from the R and M series for the face. For the frame, they've gone for an injection molded plastic casing, just like the smaller P series. I've given this a bend and I couldn't hear any creakiness that some people experience with the R series, which by the way improves a lot after tightening the screws. There's a visible seam on the casing and all of the edges are rounded and smoothed over with a matte finish. So there's no snagging or discomfort on the hands and it sits perfectly in line with the top plate. Around the back, there are 6 rubber pads that are pre-installed, unlike most of the other Haute controllers where you have to stick them on yourself. The middle pads are thinner, but they still touch the surface because the casing is slightly bowed. I'm not sure if the bowing is a manufacturing quirk or a design choice to accommodate the natural rotation of the hands. Either way, it's not noticeable unless you're looking for it, and it doesn't affect the stability of the controller on a flat surface. The casing has the PCB, plexi, and everything else sitting inside it. One thing I really like about the system is that the screws are easier to take out than their models with the flat ends because those ones can slide whilst you're screwing them. On the U16, the screws have a seat that doesn't move, so it's much less fuss to open this up. They've even bundled the correct screw head in the packaging, so there's less chance of stripping them and causing problems. And they look quite nice this time around too. The spiral finish on them reflects light similar to vinyl records, so they look good in any angle with a subtle rainbow effect going on. They're definitely better looking than the old screws. And since these aren't exposed on the bottom, they won't be dangerous to your other peripherals. With the exposed ones, I've scratched things like controllers and my keyboard when I wasn't being careful. Now this next feature is very cool. I've never seen this on any other controller before, even beyond leverless sticks. It comes with 4 art inserts, 5 if you include the black one already installed. They're all pre-cut and labelled, and 2 of these already have cool designs on them. But the star of the show is the 2 blank white ones. In my opinion, the hardest part of art modding is the cutting phase, but Haute42 has already done this time-consuming process for you. So all you have to do is decide if you're going to do something with them. The sheets are thick and ultra glossy with a checkered texture on it. I've tried bending and ripping them, but as long as you're not too rough with these papers, it's not going to happen so easily. I took it to a print shop and unfortunately they were adamant that it's not possible to print on them because the holes would cause it to get stuck inside the printer. So my options are to use some Posca markers or to slap the included stickers on them. This is an example of how various stationery interacts with it. As I mentioned earlier, it is ultra glossy and I'm not well equipped for making the most out of these. And if you want to experiment even more, Haute42 has kindly offered my viewers an additional 2 blank art papers. So after placing an order, add a note to Haute42 in the message center quoting "they fans - 2 more blank art papers." I'm sure there are a bunch of amazing artists out there who would be better at using this paper than I am, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you lot come up with. If you can figure out how to best use these papers, that personal touch will make your controller a true one-of-one rarity. So those are the standout features of the U16. This model is a 16 button version, and if you don't want these 4 additional buttons, you can opt for the U12 instead. It's lighter than the R and M models at 565 grams. The difference is immediately noticeable, and this is probably a result of the light plastic used on the outside and inside of the build. Under the hood, everything is as expected for a GP2040 controller, which I have safely updated to the latest 7.9 firmware. It has a screen that's great for on-the-fly info and setup. You can customize the pin mapping to change what all of these buttons do. You can customize the LED. It has different SOCD modes to support tournament rules, and it's compatible with pretty much everything, but the PS5 and Series X will require a dongle. For the PS5, I highly recommend the Booter 5, also by Haute42. This is the lowest footprint authenticator dongle I know of, and it works perfectly. Look for the link below. The U16 comes installed with Haute42's crystal switches. They're made by Kale, and that means we have a lot of choice when it comes to changing these. My favourite linear switches currently are the wind engines. These sound creamier and feel more sturdy than the crystals in my opinion, but they don't allow so much light to come through since they're opaque, so there is a trade-off there if you love your RGB. I also really enjoy the low-free wizards. These are clicky switches that sound amazing and are nice on the fingers too. You can hear these switches in my sound test later on. The rims are clipped onto the top plate like the R models, so if you don't like them, they can be removed. The keycaps can be swapped out for Haute42's brand new transparent or opaque caps, and you can find the link to these keycaps and aforementioned switches below. And as you saw earlier, I experimented with the included art papers as well. If you can't draw, maybe a good option is to get some custom stencils made on Etsy and see what you can do with those. If you want to go the traditional art modding route, there will be templates available on the Discord for DIY printing and cutting. The cutting phase takes too long for my liking, so I slapped up my own design and sent it off to EpicPALdesigns on Discord to get it printed, cut and delivered. So it seems to me that the 2 key features of the U16 go hand in hand. The plastic enclosure makes it easier to release the top plate, and that gives the included art papers more purpose since you can swap them around whenever you want. And since the template is available already, you can even commission some art from your favourite designers, cut those out and add them into your rotation when you feel like it. This makes the U series a great choice for the fickle ones among us who like to change things up regularly. There's also an indirect benefit to having a bunch of art papers bundled in with this. As you saw in my slide test, stacking the papers will raise the top plate and rims by a few millimeters. So players who use the slide technique often will have a slightly easier time with it. This doesn't bring it on par with the M+ for sliding, but any improvement is welcome. Raising the plate will bring it out of line from the plastic enclosure, but it's not something that I can feel on my palms during normal play. But there are some trade-offs with this plastic body. It's quite thin, so that makes it light, and I prefer controllers with some heft. And in my opinion, it sounds hollow compared to the R and M series, so you might want to experiment with switches if the oral experience is important to you. As mentioned earlier, the wind engines are a great choice and can make any controller sound better, at least to my ears. Overall, this is a fun addition to Haute42's lineup of controllers. I do hope this is a strong indication of what we might see in the future, and I really like that they're trying new things, and with each new release they seem to be upping their game, from improving small things like the screws and packaging to providing customizable art inserts. It shows that Haute42 are willing to reinvest and experiment to give us what we're looking for, and sometimes these are things we didn't even know we wanted. If they plan on experimenting with the U series, I hope they consider making an aluminium enclosure to make it feel premium. I can just imagine an enclosure like this with a silver aluminium finish like the M Plus would be very popular. They should also find a way to make the art papers less glossy and easier for artists to get creative with pencils or maybe watercolor and other tools. With these two changes, I think the U16 could truly be considered ultimate. Haute42's catalogue is starting to look more like proper controllers as they go. Maybe one day we'll see a model that is super thick and compatible with traditional arcade buttons like Sanwa and gamer fingers. Thanks again for dropping by today. If you're ordering from my Aliexpress link, make sure you send a note to Haute42 afterwards to get 2 additional art inserts by quoting the code on screen. If you need any help or have questions, comment below or join the friendly Haute42 Discord channel where you can find support, advice, art commissions and more. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all links are below, and if you want to see a quick video about the super clean R16 Black Edition, click on this video.